Some seek happiness in wealth and fame, while others long for it through exciting experiences or the recognition of others. But do these things truly bring lasting happiness, or are they merely fleeting emotions that fade away? The truth is, happiness does not lie in external things. It comes from within. Below are three powerful ways to cultivate lasting happiness in your daily life. Some seek happiness in wealth and fame, while others long for it through exciting experiences or the recognition of others. But do these things truly bring lasting happiness, or are they merely fleeting emotions that fade away? The truth is, happiness does not lie in external things. It comes from within. Below are three powerful ways to cultivate lasting happiness in your daily life. The Buddha once taught, "The mind is the forerunner of all things. A pure mind leads to a peaceful life." If our minds are entangled in worries, anger, or ambition, happiness will always seem out of reach. A striking example is the life of Milarepa, a Tibetan spiritual master. Initially, he was consumed by hatred and vengeance, using magical powers to take revenge on those who had wronged his family. However, he later realized that these negative emotions only kept him trapped in suffering. Determined to free himself, Milarepa devoted himself to spiritual practice, gained mastery over his mind, and ultimately attained profound peace. Conversely, when we cultivate a clear and unshaken mind, free from external disturbances, we experience peace and fulfillment in every moment. Scientific studies have also shown that those who practice meditation and mindfulness tend to have higher levels of happiness, reduced stress, and greater resilience in the face of adversity. Therefore, instead of chasing external pleasures, we should invest time in nurturing our inner world, learning to accept and let go of unnecessary worries. With a well-nourished and purified mind, we can confidently step into the next phase, embracing reality and overcoming life's challenges. Life is inherently imperfect. There will always be moments of difficulty, challenges, and even suffering. Instead of resisting or drowning in negativity, we should learn to accept and see them as an inevitable part of life. A well-known story about the Zen master Ajahn Chah illustrates this wisdom. When someone came to him lamenting their suffering, he pointed to a glass on the table and said, "I see this glass is already broken." His words conveyed the truth of impermanence. Everything in life is transient, and loss or change is unavoidable. When we accept this reality, we no longer suffer as deeply when facing unexpected hardships. By shifting our perspective, we begin to see that every challenge carries a valuable lesson for our growth. Just like a gem is refined over time, adversities provide opportunities to develop inner strength, patience, and compassion. The key is not to avoid suffering, but to change how we respond to it. By maintaining a positive mindset and seeking meaning in every situation, we can transform difficulties into opportunities for self-development and find peace within ourselves. Once we learn to accept and overcome hardships, the next step is to open our hearts to the values of generosity and sharing. One of the quickest ways to find happiness is by giving. When we help others without expecting anything in return, we experience a deep joy and warmth from within. A remarkable example of generosity is the story of Dr. Albert Schweitzer. He left behind a comfortable life in Europe to provide free medical care to impoverished communities in Africa. Despite facing immense challenges, he remained steadfast in his mission, and his life of service brought him profound joy and inner peace. Generosity is not just about material giving, it is also expressed through kind words, genuine care, or even a simple smile toward those around us. Psychological studies have shown that people who regularly engage in acts of kindness tend to be happier. This is because giving triggers the release of oxytocin in the brain, a hormone that fosters feelings of joy and connection. Acts of generosity not only bring happiness to the recipients, but also help us cultivate a more open and peaceful heart. When we live for others, we free ourselves from personal worries and embrace deeper, more meaningful values in life. After understanding the value of generosity, we turn to an essential aspect of the journey to happiness, the power of forgiveness. Holding on to resentment is like imprisoning ourselves within our own minds. When we refuse to forgive, we continue to nurture pain and hurt ourselves in the process. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or condoning wrongdoing. Rather, it is about freeing ourselves from the torment of the past. A well-known Zen story illustrates this wisdom. A short-tempered man once visited a Zen master, constantly complaining about the injustices of life. He spoke of those who had wronged him and the grievances he held. The master listened patiently, then smiled and began pouring tea into a cup. He kept pouring even after the cup was full, causing the tea to spill over. Shocked, the visitor exclaimed, "Why are you doing this?" "The cup is already full." The master gently replied, "Your mind is like this cup, overflowing with resentment and pain. If you do not let go, how can you make space for peace?" This story reminds us that only by releasing the burdens in our hearts can we find true happiness. Scientific research also supports this idea, showing that those who practice forgiveness tend to have lower stress levels and better mental well-being. By letting go of hatred, we experience profound relief and inner peace, creating room for love and compassion to flourish in our lives. Once we learn to forgive and free ourselves from the burdens of the past, the path to the highest state of happiness, nirvana, becomes clearer than ever. According to the Buddha's teachings, the ultimate form of happiness is nirvana, a state of absolute peace, free from greed, hatred, and delusion. It is liberation from all suffering and the endless cycle of birth and death. However, nirvana is not an abstract or distant concept. It is a tangible path that anyone can walk by practicing mindfulness, generosity, and forgiveness. There is a story about an old Zen master who lived on a mountain. When someone asked him, "What is nirvana?" he pointed to a stream flowing through his garden and said, "Look at this water. It neither clings nor resists. It simply flows, effortlessly and naturally, unbound by anything. That is nirvana." Through this image, we understand that ultimate happiness is not about grasping, but about letting go, not about searching, but about returning to the purity of our own hearts. Scientific studies also reveal that those who release attachments to material wealth and status tend to live more peaceful and fulfilling lives. Mindfulness practices have been shown to reduce stress, improve mental well-being, and cultivate a sustainable sense of happiness. While we may not yet attain nirvana, each day through acceptance, compassion, and inner clarity, we can take one step closer to true happiness. Happiness is not something distant or beyond our grasp. It does not depend on the external circumstances, but arises from within each of us. Start today, for true happiness has always been in your heart, waiting to be recognized and fully embraced. From understanding the illusions of external happiness to cultivating the mind, from accepting challenges to practicing generosity and forgiveness, each step forms the foundation of a meaningful journey toward lasting happiness. These elements are deeply interconnected, reinforcing one another and revealing that happiness is not about accumulating fleeting pleasures, but about self-cultivation and living authentically. My perspective is simple. Happiness is not out of reach. It is attainable for anyone willing to listen to and care for themselves. Begin your journey today, step by step, and ultimately you will return to your true self, a being filled with love, freedom, and inner peace.